Hello, Wondercommo here, and welcome to my build guide for my Dual Wield Duelist patch 3.2. So we're gonna start by taking a look at my passive skill tree. Starting as a duelist, of course. I went for the attack speed and the physical damage in the beginning. Then I went down here, took armor, evasion, and life here. I took Master of the Arena, Bravery, and Art of the Gladiator. I have Devrish. I have Cloak and Chain for some resistance and armor. I have Golem's Blood. I have Amber Dexterity and Blade Barrier for some good block chance. And I have Iron Reflected, which converts all of my evasion into armor. It much depends on your gear. If you have no evasion gear on your... if you have no evasion gear, you don't have to take Iron Reflexes. But if you have evasion gear, it's a good thing to take, but not a must-have. Then I have Vitality Void for some nice Lich. And here comes a pretty important part. This life and mana Lich node here is the only source of mana I need in this build. But when you're leveling up a build like this, it can be a good idea to take both this mana Lich node here and even Spirit Void so you have enough damage for having this one alone to sustain your mana. And then you can just drop these ones. So if you're having mana problem by just using this one, consider taking either this one or even this one. Move on. I have here a pretty important thing. This is a Might and Influence unique Yule, which allows my damage to splash to surrounding targets. And this is the only place where you can have this one. So when you're getting your Might and Influence Yule, you need to have it in this location. Otherwise it will not work. This is called a threshold Yule, which means you need to have at least, for this particular one, you need to have at least 40 dexterity in a radius. It do not need to be allocated. As you can see here, I have dexterity here, that is 10, 20, 30, and 40. 40 dexterity, and you do not need to take it. And this is the same thing with all thresholds Yules. You just need to be in the radius. Moving on, I have Blade of Conning for some life leech, physical damage, and good attack speed. And then I have both this one here that gave me dexterity and this one that gave me intelligence. If you have enough intelligence and dexterity on your gear, you don't have to have these two. This is only necessary if you need either dexterity or intelligence. Moving on. I went for Soul of Steel, which gives you a good defense against physical damage, a lot of armor, and some elemental resistance. I have Bloodless. I have Unwavering Stance, so the enemy can't evade. I can't evade enemy's attack, but I can't get stunned. Then I went up to the Marauder. I took Juggernaut for some armor, life, and increased life recovery from Flask, which are quite nice. I have Razor's Edge, which gives me 15% chance to curse bleeding and a lot of physical damage to swords. And I have Blade Master, which gives me a good amount of attack speed and physical damage with swords. I have another Yule Socket here, and this one I have block chance when dual wielding, increased damage, increased physical damage when dual wielding, increased attack speed. And if I could, I would love to have life on it as well. So when you're gonna go for Yules, try to get some life on them as well. Then I have Strong Aim, I have Born to Fight, I have Heart of the Warrior, I have Warrior's Blood, I have this nice life and armor notes here. I have Barbarism, and I finally have Resolute Nick. So with this build I can't crit, but I can't miss either. I also went this way up here. I have now your Yule Socket here. Again, block chance when dual wielding, increased physical damage with dual wielding, increased melee damage. And if I could and could afford it, I would love to have life on this one as well. I have Berserking for some nice attack speed. And if you want, you can take Durality for some extra damage. And I have the nice big life wheel here. So this is pretty much my passive skill tree. So let's take a fast look at my Ascendancy tree. I went for the defensive route in my Ascendancy tree. So I went for all of the block chance like Painforged, Versatile Combatant, so I have exactly as high chance to block spells as I have to block attacks. And I have Violent Retaliation, which will give you a huge amount of damage if you block a skill, if you block a hit from a unique enemy in the past 10 seconds. And this is just a very good note right now, so I highly recommend this one. It gave you a ton of damage and protection. I also have Outmatch and Outlast. You can, if you want to higher your bleed chance or want to be even more damaging, you can go for Blood in the Eye and even Gorgeous Violence. But I prefer the little bit more defensive route, and I just like to have a good block, better block chance. And by the way, before I forget it, when it comes to the bandits, I killed all of them and took the passive skill, the 2 passive skill point. You can help Oak if you want to help a master. Help Oak to get the physical damage, life regeneration, and the physical damage reduction. If you want to help a master, but I personally killed all of them and took the 2 passive skill points. And that's pretty much my passive skill tree. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in comments, and you're going to find a link in the description to where you can find the skill tree for yourself. So let's move on and take a look at my items. I'm going to start by talking about my weapons. For your weapons, you want as high physical damage and attack speed as you can get. For your helmet, you want as high armor as you can, good life and good resistance. For your rings and amulets, you want life and the resistance you need. And if you can, try to get some damage and maybe some stats like dexterity and intelligence as well. For your armor, you want as high armor value as you can, and you want as good life as you can and the resistance you need. The best option to an armor you can get would be to have a Belly of the Beast. You can see it on screen right now. But I have a 6-link Belly of the Beast. It's quite expensive, but it is the best armor you could use. For my gloves, I'm just using these gloves here. And you want, again, life and the resistance you need. And maybe some damage if you can afford it. For my belt, I'm just using this rare belt here. It's a quite nice belt. It has a lot of resistance and it has some life. And it's a raw 6 stash, it actually increases my physical damage. You can go even more defensive and go for a leather belt and go for like 150 life, something like that. And resistance and armor if you can. For my boots, again, you want life and resistance and as good armor as possible. For my flask, I'm using a Serious Promise, pretty much I must have. Very cheap flask to get, or you can just defeat that Seer and maybe you get lucky and it drops for you. It's quite easy to get a drop from a Seer with this flask. And I have an anti-bleeding flask, Eternal Flask. And then I have another flask here which gives me some armor when I'm using it. I'm using a Taste of Hate, which is quite expensive. You don't have to have this one. You can have a Lion's Roar if you want. Or another utility flask or another life flask. It's not a must-have to have a Taste of Hate. And finally, I have a Basalt flask for some extra protection against physical damage. And that's pretty much my gear. If you have any question about my gear, feel free to ask me in the comments. So let's take a look at my skill gems and support gems. We're gonna start with our main damage setup, which is Dual Strike. And Dual Strike are supported by faster attacks, ruthlessness, melee physical damage, multistrike, and ancestral call. And against bosses, I switch out Ancestral Call for Maim instead. If you only have a 5-linked armor, just take away faster attacks. I have a block skill setup and vengeance skill setup, and it is Riposte and Vengeance, together with melee physical damage and life leech for some extra leech. I have a movement skill setup, which is Leap Slam and the Whirling Blades. And they are both supported by blood magic and faster attacks. I have 2 auras. I'm using a vulnerability with blasphemy, which means that all the enemies that come near me take extra physical damage, have a chance to start bleeding and get maimed. And I'm using Hatred for some extra damage. I'm also using Blood Rage for some extra damage and a better chance of getting frenzy charges. And even me more life leech and attack speed. I have 2 custom damage taken set up, and check out the description if you don't know how custom damage taken works. But it is custom damage taken, supporting Immortal Call. And I have another custom damage taken with Arctic Breath for slowing down enemies. If you have any questions about my skill game, feel free to ask me in the comments. So I will now show this character in action. I thank you all for watching and consider subscribing if you like this video.